Hi there, welcome back to the Spurs Analyst. Hope everybody's keeping well. Today's show, I'm going to discuss the Spurs Bayern Munich match at the weekend, the friendly game. My thoughts on that, and then I'm going to move on to discussing Dominique Solanke and comparing him against Gyokeres. I'm going to have a deep dive into stats and data, and I have a question at the end of that, analysing both players. So yeah, let's get into it. So Spurs versus Bayern Munich at the weekend. Bayern Munich 2, Spurs 1. My thoughts on the game. Let me just run through the lineup quickly. So we had Kulusevski playing up front. Son on the left, Maddison through the middle with Brendan Johnson on the right. Archie Gray, Papa Metasai midfield as well. Jed Spence playing left back. Ben Davies left centre back. Radu right back, right centre back, and Porro right back. And we had Vicario in goal. Now, what I saw of this game is we were dominated in that first half. Now, we've been playing the likes of Hearts, QPR, the Asian teams, and which we've been doing pretty well against. And the level of step up of opposition against Bayern Munich, yeah, it was a big step up, and I always knew we were going to have some challenges unless we played the closest first team as we could. Now that's questionable. That team what played at the weekend wasn't the closest first team that we could have chosen. Yes, there's a few in there, you know, likes of Son and Maddison. Johnson seems to be a bit of a starter these days. Porro and Vicario. But everybody else, I wouldn't say are guaranteed first team starters. So the game, you know, the weather, it was really hot. It must have been hard playing in them conditions, and so I did think that had an impact on Spurs' match. And she did say that they had been working very hard in pre-season. Maybe it was one to get many games in these friendly matches. But I mean, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but it will impact on performances. But Bayern Munich in that first half, they were really good, I thought, and we really struggled against their press. They had quite a strong lineup as well, in especially in the first half, where you had Kimmich and Palovic in centre midfield, Gnabry, Müller, Tell, Vidovic up front, Kim and Jay at the back, Stanisic, Guerrero. Yes, they had a pretty strong lineup, and they really did outplay us. I think Gray really struggled. I mean, he's not used to playing that level of opposition, and they just warmed us. And chances, more ball possession, more passes. We were chasing them a lot, and we got out really early. Vicario mistake playing the ball to Spence, then losing possession again. Spence playing on the left, but then doing the inverted and collecting the ball from the goalie. Got caught out. He's got to get used to that if we're going to see him next season. And I think it was, you know, difficult for him playing on the left. He's a right back. But I think Spence recovered that half. He did show some good recoveries, good defensive recoveries. He did. He was quite brave, and he did try and drive through the midfield. But to be honest, Spain dominated all areas. Our midfield was not good. Gray really struggled against those Bayern Munich players. Didn't really see Maddison do a lot. Saw a lot of running around. We did have a couple of breakaways in that first half, but we couldn't take advantage. Kulu a couple of times, a couple of flashes. He was running and turning against Kim and Jay, but just his shot was blocked and it went out for a corner. Didn't really do enough for me, Kulu. And as I've mentioned in my previous video, that I'm concerned that is Kulu going to be good enough to play centre forward in this team in the new season? Maybe as a backup, third backup, possibly. and against certain teams, lower level Premier League teams, I think he could do a job. Maybe some of the early Europa League games, yeah, or lower league opposition in the cup matches, he may be able to do a job. But I definitely do not want to see him starting or even coming on in that centre forward role when the season starts. I know maybe it's a bit harsh, and playing Bayern Munich, they are a good team, but Kulu didn't do enough for me, and I wanted to see how he did perform. But I guess it's not just that. The midfield were outrun, and we were kind of a bit all over the place at times. And it just shows you as well. I mean, Brendan Johnson on that right, he was didn't do anything. Very, very poor. I think Son had one shot which was deflected. Yeah, not the best in first halves, but again, was it the fitness, the heat? Won too many games, could have impacted on the performance. Spence playing out of position on the left. Very young, Archie Gray, big game for him, playing against Bayern Munich. Yeah, it was tough. I don't want to be too harsh on the guy. He's only 18, and I'm sure he can get another chance and play better. But it was a good test for him. It was a good test for him, and as I said, the Bayern Munich midfield is high quality. Moving on to the second half, I think we improved. Suma and Bergvall came on for Gray and Maddison, and I think they made an impact. They did play well, I thought. Suma wasn't perfect, but he was trying to keep the ball. When plays were close to him, he would dart past them. Bergvall was tidy. He was up and down. He had a couple of chances. He's got a lot of energy, that Bergvall. He's like an all-round midfielder, not just like a number 10. He's up, he's down, he's running, he's keeping hold of the ball, passing it, trying to get forward. And I think he did well against those Bayern Munich midfielders. I know they did make a change. Goretzka came on, Lima came on. So still good players from Bayern Munich to enter the team. And I think Bergvall did really well. I mean, there was a lot of people were saying that Bergvall looked great and amazing, and I don't know if it was that good, but he was good. He looked good. Probably played a lot better than Maddison did. And then you get the fans saying, "Oh, we should drop Maddison for Bergvall." It's too early to say that, but I think Maddison will start to feel under pressure with Bergvall behind him, and there's so much talent, and maybe that's why Maddison's not playing too well. Maybe he is under pressure. Again, we'll see when the season starts. I'm sure he will start against his old club, Leicester. But if he's not playing well, Bergvall, maybe he can come on and make a difference. And as that second half went on, early second half, don't know what time it was. Let's have a little look. They scored on the 56th minute. Goretzka getting a goal. We lost possession in midfield. Goretzka had a shot saved, and he followed up 2-0. Even though I thought we did start playing better in that second half, got more hold of the ball. Bayern Munich made a load of changes. A lot of young players come on. Spurs made quite a few changes as well. But before then, let's talk about the Pedro Porro goal. Fantastic goal, fantastic strike. He can do that. We've seen him do it last season. He has that in his locker. What a fantastic goal! Yeah, he put his foot through that. That was a great goal. I really enjoyed that, and I hope we're going to see more of that in the new season. I like Pedro Porro. He's defensively, he can get found out in certain matches, but I think technically he's good. He's a good crosser. He's a good passer. And as we've seen he can score goals as well. Can't remember his stats from last year, but he did pick up quite a few goals. So one to watch for next year, see if he can get even better. So following on there, we made a load of changes. Bayern Munich made quite a few changes, and we made quite a few changes as well. We saw the likes of Papo Sarr came off on 64 minutes. Brendan Johnson came off 75 minutes. Spence came off 74 minutes. Radu came off 45 minutes. Ben Davies came off 64. Son came off 75. Kulusevski came off 75. So yeah, they practically changed the team. And then we saw the likes of Abbott come on, Skip, Alfie Devine, Donnelly, Mikey Moore, Timo Werner, Will Lancashire, and we were pushing in that second half, trying to get the equaliser. The young players again playing really well. We were quite close of getting an equaliser, but unfortunately we didn't. But again, the game was all the changes. The game was kind of just there for anybody really to just kind of training. The game gets out of sync when there's all them changes, young players coming on. So yeah, that game's the game really. Anything else I want to say about that game? I think what showed was we desperately need our defence back. We saw Ben Davies left centre back. We saw Spence out on the left when he's a right back. We did look vulnerable in that game, conceding chances. I want to see our defence back. Hopefully we'll see him at the weekend. Van der Ven, Romero, Doggy returning back in the side. That's going to help us. They're only going to get one game before the season starts. They probably won't even play the whole match, but it'll be good to get them back in and make us a bit more solid. How do people think the midfield is shaping up for the new season? I think he's going to probably go safe. He's probably going to play Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison. He started quite a lot of games last season. That's who I think is going to be the midfield. What do people think? Please comment. Let me know. What do you think our starting midfield is going to be against Leicester on our first game of the season? Please comment. Let me know who you think he's going to start. As I said, a lot of people want Bergvall to start over Maddison. I don't think he's going to do that, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that's it really on that section there. So I'm now going to move on to my kind of main topic of the show. Dominic Solanke versus Gyokeres. Now, as we all know, Solanke is strongly linked to Tottenham Hotspur. It started, I don't know if it's when it started, if it was on the weekend or late last week. Can't remember now. But as every day goes on, a little bit more information comes out. And it definitely looks like we are trying to sign Solanke. There was some conflicting messages today on Twitter. So we have Romano saying, this is what he said today. He said, understand Tottenham are pushing to get Dominic Solanke deal done. Talks underway with Bournemouth. Solanke has given a green light as Spurs as negotiations are ongoing to find an agreement. Tottenham wants Solanke, as he said, exclusively revealed last week. So he said that. Who else came out and said something today? I think it was Gary Jacob. Gary Jacob says Tottenham are increasingly confident of ending their striker search by signing Dominic Solanke before the start of the season. Well, pretty strong links. But then, as I said, there's conflicting links. Alex Crook from TalkSport says no talks have opened, although there is interest. And Solanke is on Tottenham's striker target list. And also Sky Sports, I saw something a couple of hours ago as well. Michael, what's his name now? Michael, I forgot now, but Michael, I think he's actually a Spurs fan from Sky Sports, says talks are not opened either, but he's on the list. So yeah, conflicting, but there's definitely something going on, whatever you want to think about it from both sides there, which I just said. So yeah, I'm just going to go into this, have a bit of a deep dive. I'm going to explain to you why. I'm going to talk about Gyokeres as well. But yeah, so just bear with us while I just get the information up. So Dominic Solanke, he is 26 years old. He's going to be 27 in September. He scored 19 goals for Bournemouth last year, had a really good season, making the top 5 or 6 Premier League goal scorers. Goals, he scored 5 goals against the top 8 teams, and he scored 14 goals against the rest. Make of that what you think. So yeah, again, 5 against top 8 opposition and 14 goals against the rest. I'm not going to go into any more about that. Maybe it's food for thought there. Positives. So I've had a look at his goals last season. Quite a variety type of goals: heading goals, right foot, poultry goals. He's good at closing down, good at the press. He's obviously Premiership proven. He's physical. He has some pace. He has some good link-up play. No injuries last year. He played 38 games, and he's homegrown. So these are the sort of positives I see about Solanke, which I've kind of been looking into and watching some of his goals, looking at his stats. So yeah, he had a really good season. His best season in the Premier League. I mean, he did play for Chelsea youth, but I can't remember a lot of him playing for Chelsea. Then he moved to Liverpool as a free transfer. I don't think he did a lot there. And then Bournemouth came in. I think they signed him for around 21 million. So yeah, so he's been at Bournemouth for a few years now, 4 years maybe, 4 or 5. So the questions for me about Solanke: can he take the step up from Bournemouth to play for Spurs? There is a step up. There's going to be more pressure. Can he do it? That's one of my kind of questions about him, about the signing. He's only had really one good goal scoring season in the Premier League, which was the season just gone. Yes, he scored quite a few goals in the Championship playing for Bournemouth. So yeah, can he do it again? We've only had one season of it. What do people think about this Solanke? There's a mixed reaction on social media. Some people are saying he's Ange's perfect signing. Other people are very, very underwhelmed. And he obviously wasn't top of our list because the deal would have been done earlier on in the transfer window. So he's maybe, I don't know how low he was on the list, but there's suddenly noise about him now. So he obviously wasn't our top choice striker. I wonder if we'll ever find out who that was. So yeah. So now I'm going to talk about Gyokeres. Now, reason why I'm talking about Gyokeres, because I know fans, they want, Spurs fans, other fans from other clubs, a lot of them said they want Gyokeres. Now, there's stuff in the kind of out there in social media that he's going to be worth like 100 million euros. Now, I had a look at him. I had a look at his goals and assists from last season playing for Sporting Lisbon. He looks like he's a powerful finisher. He had fantastic stats last season, 29 goals and 10 assists. Obviously playing for one of the better teams in Portugal, and it is a weaker league. As Sporting Lisbon will dominate most matches in that league and also create a lot of chances. He as well is 26, similar age to Solanke, or the same age as Solanke. So let me try and explain why am I discussing the two players now. So we have fans who want the best signings, top signings, world-class signings, and Gyokeres, based on his stats last season, was fantastic. 29 goals, 10 assists or 9 assists. Very impressive. 100 million euros. And then you've got fans who are happy with Solanke and fans who are not happy with Solanke and really, really disappointed. Comparing him, some people say he's no better with Richarlison, or is even worse than Richarlison, which, well, I don't agree with that. I think based on last season, he looked quite good, and what I've seen in the goals that he scored. But it's everyone's got their own opinion on it. So now, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to break down some kind of data around Solanke and Gyokeres, and then I have a question or a few questions at the end of it, or once I've done my, well, whatever I'm doing here, just discussing the two players. So let me just get some information on the screen, which will help the stream. Oh, some problems here. There we go. So, Solanke versus Gyokeres. Football progressions from the season 2020-21. So the reason why I started there is because this is when both players started to score goals for their. So the data here, which I've put together, is only from league football. I've included cups or any European competition. It's just purely based on league football. So both players were playing in the championship between 2020 and 2022. So the 2021 season, Solanke scored 15 goals and had 8 assists playing for Bournemouth in 38 starts. Gyokeres scored 3 goals and no assists playing for both Swansea and Coventry in that season, and he had 30 starts. That season, Coventry came 16th in the championship and Bournemouth came 6th. So obviously Bournemouth were a much better team that season. It may be prompting why Solanke scored and a more goal and assist output. So moving on. Season 21-22 season. Solanke scored 29 goals and had 7 assists playing for Bournemouth in 46 starts. Gyokeres scored 17 goals and had 5 assists playing for Coventry in 41 starts. That year, Bournemouth were promoted to the Premier League and Coventry came 12th in the Championship. So again, Solanke then playing in a better team than Gyokeres was. But as you see there, the goal levels are raising for both players. So let's move on to the 22-23 season. So Solanke played in the Premier League. He scored 6 goals, 7 assists for Bournemouth in 32 starts. That season, Bournemouth were fighting relegation. He was playing under Gary O'Neill, who, as if anyone can remember, was sacked at the end of that season as the club wanted a change in playing style and wanted to kind of quicken up the success process. Gyokeres continued to play in the Championship and scored 21 goals and had 10 assists for Coventry in 44 starts. So yeah, very good season for Gyokeres. Coventry came 5th that season and unfortunately lost out to Luton in the playoff final. So Gyokeres could have ended up back in the Premier League. He was very close. Yeah, last season. So do people think if Coventry were promoted the 22-23 season, do you think Solanke would have, not Solanke, Gyokeres would have stayed playing for Coventry or not moved to Sporting Lisbon? That's at the end of the season. It's an interesting question there. Why didn't any Premier League side sides take Gyokeres at the end of that 22-23 season when he scored 21 goals and had 10 assists. He only went for like 24 million euros to Sporting Lisbon. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure why no one from the Premier League picked him up. So moving on. So in the 2023-24 season, which has just gone, Solanke's played under Areola and scored 19 goals and had 3 assists playing for Bournemouth, playing 38 games. Did Areola improve his game, do people think? Playing in a Bournemouth team who are more attacking, pressing, giving him more chances to score that season. Did that manager improve Solanke that season? Maybe, pretty good. Gyokeres played under Ruben Amorim for Sporting Lisbon in his first season there. He's scoring 29 goals and 9 assists in 33 games. Gyokeres playing for a talented manager who's managed Sporting Lisbon since 2020. A question on the two so far. Do people think because what I'm trying to say is, obviously Gyokeres had the opportunity to go and play in Sporting Lisbon, had a good season. Solanke, if based on his good season or seasons in the Championship, could he have done that well at Sporting Lisbon? I don't know. What do people think? We see the goals quite similar. Solanke edging it in the Championship because playing for a better team. If it was roles reverse, if Solanke was the signing 21 million euros, could he have got that goal and assist output playing for Sporting Lisbon? We would never know. But it's an interesting thought. So I'm just going to read over their profiles of the two players as well, which makes for some interesting reading. And we'll say, and there's a lot of bias towards players and why players are seen in the kind of bigger and better players. Yeah, you'll see what I'll say. So, style of play for Gyokeres. So this is what I've read. Quick on the turn, a powerful, fast runner with the ball at his feet, a threat in front of goal. He's a strongly built footballer and uses his strength to secure possession when under pressure. He's also effective in providing the team's defenders with some respite following a clearance. As a strong and physical forward, he is noted for his pace, stamina and finishing, as well as for his ability to surprise opponents with bursts of technical display due to his skill manipulating football, working in tight areas and improvising when needed. Now, I've seen his goal he scored last season, and some of the finishes were powerful. He was tricky in the box. He would get round a defender, finishing from tight angles. Yeah, looking on what he did in that Portuguese league. Again, the Portuguese league is not the strongest. He did score probably better goals than Solanke did for Bournemouth last year. Not all of them. Some of them were just bog standard finishes, but definitely, he looks a very talented player. So now let me read the player profile of Solanke, and this is when I think there is a bit of bias towards certain players. Let me tell you. Style of play for Dominic Solanke. So, Solanke primarily plays as a striker, although can operate in either attacking midfield or wing. Former Chelsea striker Torre Andre Flo has said that Solanke works really hard and has got a very good physique and a great touch on the ball. He went on to say he's quick, but often when press impresses him the most is when he looks like he's lost the ball and he somehow manages to get the ball, no matter how tight the situation is or how difficult it looks. So that's two versions of his playing style. Which one sounds better? Of course, Gyokeres, the way they wrote about him in those two, comparing the two, Gyokeres sounds amazing, like, top player, world-class player, and Solanke didn't sound that he was that great, just average, really. And he had to explain his style of play from an ex-Chelsea player. So look, Gyokeres is the glamorous player at the moment, quoted as 100 million euros to sign him. He scored 29 goals and 10 assists last season. He's a player that other rival fans talk about, not just Spurs fans. He's like, oh, let's get Gyokeres, fantastic player. He's going to improve our team. Yeah, he would. Of course, he would improve our team. But again, he's had one good season in Portugal. He had a couple of good seasons in the Championship. So did Solanke. We have seen players who've come from Portugal. Someone comes to mind, Darwin Núñez, scoring loads of goals and then struggling playing in the Premier League. So it's not always guaranteed. The problem is, it's not a problem because everyone's entitled to their own opinion on Solanke, is that he's unfashionable. I've got to be honest there. He's not the star name compared to Gyokeres. But when you look at the kind of data on both players, goals, assists, performing in the Championship, then, Solanke going to the Premiership with Bournemouth, Gyokeres playing for Sporting Lisbon, which, they're going to be one of the best teams in that league. Is Gyokeres much better than Solanke? And please comment. If you think he is much better, please let me know why you think this. Do you think it's a bit unfair on Solanke? Is he really not as good as Gyokeres? As I said, up to this season, the stats were very similar. Both players playing with different teams, in a Bournemouth team who were kind of mid-table, playing in a tough Premier League. Then you got Gyokeres playing with Sporting Lisbon, where a lot of games are easier, and he's got very good stats. They both had a similar football journey. It's quite an interesting discussion to have. How I delivered that, I don't know if it was the smoothest way, but again, I'm new to YouTube and getting used to kind of talking into the camera, and I probably, as I said, didn't deliver it in the smoothest way, but I think you can kind of get my gist, and I hope that the data I put on the screen kind of helped people and be able to read it. Sometimes when you see something visually, you can take it in better. So yeah, what's your thoughts on that? And kind of moving back to Solanke, what are people's thoughts? Are you happy? Are you excited about it? Do you think it's going to work in the AND system? Are you unsure? Are you okay about it? You're undecided? Or you're really, really disappointed or underwhelmed? And obviously, if you want to comment, why do you feel that way? Is there any other forwards that Spurs should be getting instead? So the other guy we've been linked with quite a lot through summer is Ivan Toney. So I'm going to just touch on him a little bit. Why haven't we gone for him? Is it his age? Is it because he's going to be a free agent next season? For me, I would have gone for Toney. I think he's got a touch of class about him. He's physically strong. He's arrogant. He has arrogance in his play. He's a tough player. He gives centre-backs a hard game, full of confidence. He's kind of got a nasty side to him. He's not scared. He would really, really do well playing for Spurs, I think. Going back to Solanke, I kind of jumped ahead there to Toney, but I've got a little bit more to say about Solanke, because I've said a lot of stuff on what other people are thinking or maybe thinking. I haven't really kind of given my opinion on it. Yeah, I gave some positives, and then I gave some kind of reservations about the signing. Just looking at just a little bit more into that. I should have done that. I should have done that before I talked about Tony. But can Solanke do it in the Spurs shirt? He's going to have better players around him. But again, it's going to be depending on who we have on the wings. Brendan Johnson, Son. Again, as I said in previous videos, I think we need a really top winger. Who is that? A lot of links to Neto this week, and I think someone came out and said it's either Eze or it's Neto. I'm not sure on that one who it's going to be, but are they going to be able to create the quality chances for Solanke to score? We do really need a top winger and to make us a better side. I mean, for me, Johnson, he has his moments in games, but he can't take a player on, and he doesn't do it against bigger teams. He's got a lot to prove. Son, he can do it against the top teams. He's better when there is a bit of space, but again, he is getting on a bit. We don't know what he's going to be like next year. I don't rate Manor Solomon. I heard he's going on loan as well today. Werner, again, I don't rate him at all. So yeah, I really hope we get in a better winger, which will give Solanke a better chance to score a lot of goals if we sign him. I can also see like Pedro Porro picking him out as well with his pace in behind, crossing the balls, passing. I also think that Solanke and his link-up play, I can imagine him linking with players like Maddison, Kulu, Doggy, in and around Solanke, linking up play. He can score headers. He's a better presser than Richarlison and Son. So there is something there, but again, I think it's. I don't know if I said it already, but I think it's a bit of a gamble, to be honest. It is a bit of a gamble, Solanke. Can he do it for Spurs? Can he, give the type of performances like he did last season playing for Bournemouth? Can he do that for Spurs? More pressure. We're going to come against teams with a low block. A lot more teams playing a low block. Can he make the difference? I know he's good in the air. I've seen him in the box, quick turns and shots. Yeah, it's food for thought, really. So it is a bit of a gamble. Yeah, yes, I'll get behind him. Do I think we could have signed better? Yes. As I said, I would have probably preferred Tony. But look, if he does sign for us, what can we do? We have to get behind him. Maybe he'll be really good. Maybe he's a player we need. There's more links today that Richarlison is going to be sold to Saudi Arabia, and someone said today that the money from the sale of Richarlison will pay for Solanke. I don't know. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, if we do lose Richarlison, we're going to need maybe somebody else, another striker as backup for Solanke, unless they're going to play Lancashire. We heard Valise has gone out on loan today, so that leaves Scarlett and Lancashire as younger strikers. Yeah, we know Son can go up top. We know Kulu can go up top, even though I'm not really for that. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. See if this Solanke deal goes through. Knowing Spurs, it's probably going to drag on right until the beginning of the season, the start of the season. You just want it wrapped up, don't you? If it is him, get him in and now focus on the next player. There's also links. I've heard that we're after a left back as well. Not sure who that is at the moment. And but there's still no talk of that midfielder, that number 6. There was a link to another player called Richarlison, who plays in France. Another young player, up and coming player. Didn't have a lot of game time last season. Very tall player, good aerially. Potential again. Yeah, not really any signs of a midfielder coming in at this stage. And we've lost Holberg. Probably going to sell Lascelles. So Solomon is going out on loan. Royale, well, we keep saying it's done, but it's almost done. So yeah, still quite a bit to do by the start of the season. Yeah, we'll see. I just want Solanke wrapped up, and then I want to see if we're going to bring in a winger. So yeah, that's the end of my stream today. Not as long as I normally do. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments. Any thoughts on anything I've said, anything you want to discuss, please leave your comments. Thanks guys for watching. Take care. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye.